What's up, Star Wars fans and action figure collectors? Darth Collector here, and in today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single Skywalker figure in my collection. Now, some things to know before we get going is that I'm not going to be including Darth Vader or Kylo Ren in this list. I feel like Darth Vader is a separate character than Anakin Skywalker, and they weren't really meant to be the same character, so I've decided not to include him. And I'm not including Kylo Ren because I wanted it to be like direct Luke Skywalker, like Anakin, Luke, you know, kind of just down that Skywalker line rather than Leia, which, I don't know, I feel like just Luke's more iconic, so we're doing that. Now, let's get into the list. Alrighty, so taking a look at all the Skywalker... Wait a second. Rey's not a Skywalker. Rey's a Palpatine. Get her out of here. Ejected. Sorry about that. I'm not really sure how she managed to get in here. Anyways, taking a look at all the actual Skywalkers in my collection, we're going to be ranking all these figures. So we've got some Anakin Skywalkers right here in the Return of the Jedi one. Then we've just got a bunch of Lukes pretty much. And then we got this guy whose name is Cade Skywalker, but we'll get into that in just a sec. So starting off out of this group, I think it's pretty clear the first ones we're going to knock off. It's just going to be the 5 POA guys, just because they really can't stand up to the rest of the figures. So this Bespin Luke right here, unfortunately, we're going to have to take him off, although this was a pretty good figure for its time. Out of the Power of the Force 2 line, this is one of the better figures, and it actually comes with a fun feature of removable hand, so you can simulate Darth Vader cutting off Luke Skywalker's hand. Then the next 5 POA figure on this list that I'm going to just take out quickly is this Anakin Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Now, I really love this figure, and it's super nostalgic to me, but realistically speaking, it just can't compete with the fully articulated figures that are still on the stand. Now we're on to the actually good figures. All the 5 POA figures are out, so we're left with pretty much fully articulated ones. All these figures are pretty good, but the next one I think I'm going to probably have to eliminate is going to be this Luke Skywalker right here. The reason I'm taking this guy out is I'm thinking he's just a little bit, like his proportions are just kind of off. I feel like his arms and chest just don't really fit. This may be one of the more controversial ones. Let me know if I got this one right or wrong, but that's how I feel. Ejected. At this point in the video, I feel like I should clarify something since I haven't talked about it at all. This Stormtrooper is a Luke Skywalker. It's when he's disguised as a Stormtrooper from the trash compactor. Just quick clarification in case anybody was wondering. Anyways, taking a look at the next figure we're going to be ejecting from this list, I'm really not exactly sure where I want to go with it. I think, though, I'm going to have to take out one of these Anakins. And I'm just kind of debating. On the one hand, I really just like the look of this one better, and I like the paint better, and just everything about it pretty much I like better. But it also just has swivels at the elbow, whereas every other figure here has a ball joint at the elbow. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Even though personal preference, I like this guy better. So honestly, we're taking out this one just because I don't like it as much, but it really probably should be the other way around. This figure just doesn't do it as good for me. You know what I mean? I think the other one has a better head sculpt and a better paint job overall, but really there's nothing incredibly wrong with this figure. It's just kind of my personal opinion. So overall, this is a fine figure. I just like the other one slightly better. Alrighty, here is the one that I like slightly better, but I feel like it's only fair that I take it out now just because of the articulation. The difference is this guy's got swivels here, and everyone else has ball joints. So I feel like I gotta take him out. It just wouldn't be fair. Although this guy does have really good leg articulation. Like, not many figures can do this. He's got ball joints, ball joints, ball joints. He's got swivels for everything on the arms except for his shoulders right here, or a ball joint as well. So he's definitely not bad articulation. It's just this elbow thing isn't quite as good as everyone else on the list. Ejected. Alrighty, so now it has come down to the top 6. And as you can see, I really haven't thought about this video too much ahead of time, but every figure left here is a really good figure. All these figures have really nice paint, really nice sculpting, just overall they're super good. So I'm not really sure what I want to do about it. I'm thinking, though, between these two guys, I know I like this one better because it has better articulation on the ankles and better articulation on the legs right there. So I know I like this one better than this one. I really like this as a figure, but it also has the most limited articulation out of all of these. So I think I'm going to have to go with this one. As cool as I think this figure is, I really like how they made an aged Luke. This isn't actually the right lightsaber that he actually used, so it's not accurate to the novels or the films. And just because of this robe thing, he can't really move his legs forward or backwards any more than this. He still has ball joints here and ball joints here, but it's just ultimately not quite as articulated, so to say, as some of the other figures here. So for now, I have to eject him. Alrighty, so for now, we are in the top 5. And here, I'm still, again, not exactly sure who I'm exactly going to eject, but I think it'll probably have to be this X-Wing Luke right here. Now, there's honestly nothing wrong with this figure, just like all the ones I've ejected below. But this one, it just isn't quite as good as the other X-Wing Luke, so I figure we'll just get it out of the way now when we have a chance. It doesn't have this leg articulation here, and that's pretty much the biggest issue, honestly. Everything else is pretty much the same. But I also just kind of like the paint apps on this one slightly better. I mean, just taking a look at it, this one looks more like Luke. It's from the vintage collection, so that's to be expected. I have no idea what this one's from, but ultimately this one's just better. So I'm just going to take this guy out of the way while we can, and then we'll take a look at the better figures. Ejected. Alrighty, so now we are in the top 4, and this is where it kind of comes down to it. So we've got Stormtrooper here, got this X-Wing Luke, we got Cade Skywalker, which I haven't really talked about, then we have this Luke right here. And I think I'm going to take out this Luke. The reason I'm doing this is just because of the face. I just don't feel like this face looks as much like Luke as it could. I think this is the Black Series one, but just compare this to the Vintage Collection one, and I feel like the face on the one on the X-Wing one right here is just so much better. I don't know, man. Something about that just isn't good to me. Don't get me wrong. It's good. It's just not exactly how I would like it. And for that, I'm going to take that one out of the game. Alrighty, so the next choice is fairly obvious to me, to be honest. We've got a Vintage Collection figure here, interesting and unique figure here, and a Stormtrooper figure. And I'm honestly going to take out the Stormtrooper figure. I think this is a super unique figure, and one that's just, I really appreciate that they took the time to make this, to be honest, because it's not something I really expected, but it's something we got. Ultimately, really strong figure, and part of the reason I'm just taking it out is because of the face sculpt again. It's fine. It's nothing worse than the other. It is slightly worse than the other Luke, but it's not bad by any means. It's just not quite as good, in my opinion. Overall, though, it's a great Stormtrooper, and really nothing bad I can say about it specifically. Alrighty, so we have come down to Cade versus Luke Skywalker. So I mentioned I would explain this a little more. For those of you who don't know, Cade Skywalker is basically a very long line descendant of Luke Skywalker, obviously hence the name. He was a bounty hunter for a time and then obviously became a Jedi, as all Skywalkers pretty much do. Brushes with the dark side occasionally, but he seems like a good dude overall. Haven't actually read the comic, but this was just a Wikipedia search. I don't really know how I ended up with the figure. I think I found him at a flea market one time and just picked him up for cheap. But it's a really cool figure. I really like this accessory he comes with. It's like this shotgun thing that he apparently used as a bounty hunter. Let's see if I can pull it out here. There we go. Pretty cool though. I feel like this isn't really with any other figures. It doesn't grow in his hands super great. I think his lightsaber hand is probably better. Anyways, he's got a lightsaber modeled pretty much right after Anakin's. Like, it looks the same as Anakin's, just green. It might be the same. I don't really know. I don't think so though. But overall, I mean, he's just a super cool figure. He fought not Darth Krayt. Was it Darth Krayt? I think it was Darth Krayt that he was like kind of against. But yeah, super cool figure overall. Having said that, I think this Luke is a better figure. Partially because of the face, partially because of the articulation, but just this Luke figure, I mean, it's a Vintage Collection figure, and it's just super strong overall. They both have ball joints here, and I get the face sculpts, and honestly, it has nothing to do with the paint and the sculpting. This figure looks pretty much like what he looks like in the comics. It's really good. This Luke, I just feel like it's better. Having this articulation here that's extra versus this guy that doesn't, just, I don't know, man. This Luke's just a really strong figure, so I'm going to have to give him number 1 out of all the Skywalkers in my collection. I'll update you guys if anything changes or if I get another bunch of Skywalker figures, but probably won't. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys for the next video. Please make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. May the Force be with you always. See ya.